Now I'd like to hand over to Edward Twiddy, the co-founder of Atom Bank, one of those people.
Hello, what a wonderful opportunity, and thank you very much for the introduction, Cindy. Atom, we're a very simple bank. We're a savings and lending bank, mortgage lending bank in particular, and based in Durham. And when we put this business together based on three, which we hope very sound principles, we're going to be simpler, faster, and better value for money than anybody else in our sector. And what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes just talking to you about why we think we can do that and how we've done it with a whole range of partners and our investors. Simpler through process innovation. I'm emphasizing process innovation rather than product innovation. So that's through understanding our product, but understanding our customer as much as we possibly can, and understanding what we can take out of a process through digitalization and through the application of technology. Quick example, from a mortgage application being sent to us, it takes us about 12 seconds to return a fully underwritten offer. That's pretty good. For those of you who haven't been through that process recently, perhaps you're all wonderful homeowners and don't have to go through that. But for most people, that's a grind, a genuine grind. We also go for simplification through what channels we use. So we were the first of the UK's app-only banks, the first bank to adopt biometric gateways before they were inherent in the tokens on your phone. But associated with all of that, we have an absolute dedication to quality user experience. And if you make the journey simple, if you make the process simple, thereafter a lot can fall into place. Faster, yes, good tech. We made some dreadful mistakes technology-wise, early doors, and we made a dreadful timing error. Atom was established just a few months ago. Its permission, or with restriction, just a few months before the FCA's first consultation document landed on the use of cloud. So we made a dreadful mistake and spent quite a lot of money and quite a lot of time reversing out of it, adopting the wonderful UK tech business Thought Machine and being the first in the world to take Thought Machine live with our partners in Google Cloud. That has transformed our operating model and makes us quick to build, quick to recover, quick to get on with the next challenge. But we also make sure that our policies and our procedures enable speed, and that's the benefit of starting from a blank piece of paper. You can decide how you're going to make money, and you can decide what processes matter, and you can decide how to be of course, compliant, and how, of course, to be consumer-centric, but also what that actually means in policy terms. And not enough emphasis, I think, is perhaps given to the choices you can make for yourself in the policies you determine. And then finally on models, and I'll come back to models in a little bit when I talk about our relationship with our university partners in particular. Value for money. We're not scared of price. In fact, we like to have that conversation. We don't think there's an honest enough conversation in banking about price. And we think that that's the benefit of innovation and competition and challenge. And that's why we were set up. So we have spent 48 of the 52 weeks of 2022 with a product in the Best Buy tables. And we have had a record year in terms of income and a record year in terms of growth. And whilst we've kept our costs under control, so we've seen about 6% increase in costs, we've seen over 100% increase in customers, and an 80% increase in income. So you can do it. You don't have to be trying to take as little by way of benefit back to your savings community whilst taking as much as you can from your lending community. But we were built to live on margins that the high street couldn't accommodate. We're built to live on margins which are about a third the size of the big six, and yet return an ROE of around 24%. So that's why we hope we'll succeed. That's why we think now that we're out of that early grip of how long can you sustain those losses for. We're out of that part of our journey. We're into profit, we're into growth, we're into rapid growth. And we're going to do it, we hope, very quickly and then put ourselves out into the public markets. There's a few important choices we made along the way. We decided we'd optimize everything. So before we had a license, before we were a bank, we'd actually built not just the bank, but a digital twin, so that we could consult that digital twin on how to use that scarce and expensive capital that we were raising at every turn. And we did that with the Maths Department in Durham Uni, and they've been a huge partner for us ever since. We continue to fund PhDs through that department. We continue to run knowledge transfer partnerships with them and to build centers for doctoral training with them. We decided that we would listen, and we have an AI-led Voice of the Customer program, which we think is second to none. It's award-winning, and the person who runs it is one of our most valuable people. We recruit against a value set that we think we as founders matters. And so we get the right people, and we're quite picky, but we've got 460 of them right now, and just a few weeks ago we announced another 50 roles in Atom. We promote the region, so we set up the Atom Incubator for, again, university-led, data-intensive spin-outs. We give free accommodation, we take no equity, we give free access to our investor community, give free legal advice, free accounting advice, and we house people around us because we want to grow. We know that Durham is a town better known for its university than for any of its industry, much of which has changed radically and is a completely different place to the place that I grew up in on Teesside in the 1970s, 1980s. But it's too small. So that's why we were delighted to be asked and then to support the rework of the strategy for the fintech in the Northeast. And Charlotte mentioned folk from Whitecap who are here, and they've been instrumental. It's great to see so many other people who were involved in that process just a few months ago. Finally, we have a focus on productivity. So we're very performance-led, but that's also meant that we've been able to pioneer a 4-day working week. And so everybody at Atom now has a contract, which is a 4-day week contract, and a flexible working contract. We measured 300 different indicators, commercial indicators, operational indicators, compliance, customer indicators, of course. Not a single one of them altered for the worse as a result of the introduction of a 4-day week. And so last November, we wrote it into everybody's contract after a 9-month trial. It's totally changed the way we work. We still have a 7-day operational window in terms of customer contact, but people work 4 days on and 4 days off if they're in those customer-facing teams. I'm going to finish with 2 things. One is, I've mentioned that we sort of lean in towards education. Well, I would say we spin in towards education. It's fundamental to us. We've learnt huge amounts from that experience, whether it's with our research-intensive colleagues in Durham and in Newcastle, or the teaching-led universities around us, from whom we take so much and learn so much. We've been instrumental in growing schools. We're the partner with Durham University in what I hope will very soon be agreed, the Durham University Maths School, soon to come your way, I hope, change the face of sixth form learning in the region. But my sort of plea from that is that you can't lean in unless you've got some friends. And the biggest friend, I think, to innovation is competition policy. And competition policy has still got places to go to make the UK's innovation environment one of the most successful that it can possibly be, not just in the world, I think, but actually as a place where you wouldn't want to be anywhere else. If we get a competition policy agenda right, then this will be the only place to do UK innovation, And of course, fintech will be at the head of that battle. Thank you very much. I think I'm handing over to Eze.